The point of this discussion is not to terrify you, is not to scare you, but instead is to make you realize, be very awake to what is occurring. Be very awake to how valuable time is to change this course for humanity and send humanity in the direction of the light. Because something which is very inspiring, very hopeful from what is occurring right now is this change is coming at you very, very rapidly from many, many different directions because the elite understand they are. Hi, I'm Muzz iEvolv, and there are so many different things you could be doing right now, different videos you could be watching, but you're here watching this one, so thank you. I really appreciate that. Please like, subscribe, comment, share on this video now, because it is just a little small thing you can do that really helps me a tremendous amount. So that would be wonderful if you could do that, please. It's time to read this book, if you haven't already, The 3 Awakenings That Save Humanity. It's available in the paperback, in an ebook, and also in audio form. So the link for that is below this video. If you would like to have a private channeling with me, also below this video, you'll see a link going to an inquiry form, and that just begins a conversation. It doesn't commit you to anything. I'll just send you more information, and then you can decide after you receive the information if it's something you want to do or not do. Reminding you, if you would like to contribute to what I'm doing here in a donation of some kind, I have created a membership site. You get the transcripts, the audios, and the videos of every channeling I've done in the past, every channeling I'll do in the future. And the most expensive of the 3 membership levels is less than 2 quarters per day. So it's a great way we can help each other, and the link for that also is below. My channeling course now is getting very close to being completed. It is a massive project to undertake for one person, especially when I'm in a foreign country, I don't have a car, I have a child and a dog with me, and I'm taking care of a lot of things, but I'm slowly making my way towards being completed. At the moment, what I'm doing is I'm writing the information which describes what's in there, and I'm creating a video so you can watch the video, so you can understand what the course is all about and so on. So it makes it easier for you to make a decision. So I'm getting very close to, I know I say this week after week, but I am getting very close. But every time I think I'm about done, then I realize there is something else that needs to be done. So it's kind of dragging on a bit. But you will be among the first people that hear about it, because I'm doing an initial release with VIP pricing, which is about half price of what it will actually eventually become. And that's for subscribers of my YouTube channel, and also anyone who's read my book or bought anything else from me in the past. So you're going to get the special VIP treatment. So I'll let you know when that is getting near. And on to today's topic. Are you awake? Then this is your duty. Greetings and thank you for the question. Are you awake? Then this is your duty. We have spent the last couple of sessions speaking of hope, and how hope will always keep you connected to a tangible aspect of the light. And so even in the most dire of circumstances, it is still possible to have an invigoration of the light. However, in this week's session, what we would like to do is speak more of the realities that are taking place on your planet right now. Because even though we often speak of the golden age of humanity and of the rise of the light and the defeat of the darkness, it does not mean that humanity, including you, will arrive into the golden age in the absence of any action. Action must be taken. There needs to be a unification of the human spirit, coming together as the humanity being, and from this position of unified might, demanding that the darkness cease and desist. So, although this is something which perhaps you already understand intellectually, what we would like to do in this session is to lay it out with a sense of the impending urgency of the reality that it will give you a higher degree of motivation and thereby inciting you to do what it is that must be done, such that the triumph of the light through the hearts and minds of humanity does come to pass, and then there can be this entry into the golden age. So, let us begin by taking a closer look at what is the state of your global civilization at this time. So, the state of your planet is in a high degree of flux. So there is a freight train of change heading towards humanity, and it is coming from multiple directions. And the change will be so transformational that in the near distant future, if this is allowed to come to pass, the typical life for a human will be radically transformed. And it will not be transformed for the better, although this is how it is marketed to you. This is how it is packaged by the proxies of the elite, through the World Economic Forum, through the World Health Organization, through the national governments of each of your countries, and so on. Let us detail some of these changes that are coming towards you, and coming towards you at a frenetic pace. At this time, there is the negotiation of what will be the WHO Treaty regarding how pandemics are handled in the future. And it is the wishes of the WHO that they have complete dominion over all of the nations which are part of this treaty to determine when each country goes into lockdown, and also that each citizen of each nation must be inoculated forcibly if that is what they declare is required. Then you also have the rise of the central bank digital currency. But it will not be a currency, but rather it will be a controlled transactional system. So they will have total and utter control over the way that you spend your money. And if you behave in a way which they see as being dissident or counter to the narrative which they are pushing, then they can very simply limit your ability to transact. And if these central bank digital currencies do totally replace the current financial system, the current currency system, then you will be subjected to whatever they determine is your access to money, your ability to make transactions. Also, this is going to be tied to the digital ID, and so there will be no more anonymity. Everything that you do, every transaction that you make, will be recorded, and so there will be an even greater degree of control over every aspect of the way that you live your life. There is the appearance of the 15-minute cities, where you will be limited to a geographical area that takes 15 minutes to traverse. And yet, when you get to the other side of this 15-minute city, you will not be permitted to leave unless you have a pass, and you'll get a limited number of those passes on a yearly basis. So essentially, you will be imprisoned into a pen, like a farm animal. Also, there is the rise of AI, and coincidentally with advanced robotics. So it is only a matter of time until these two technologies are merged, and you will be in the presence of advanced robotic beings with AI sentience. And it will be a AI sentience which is flavored via the narrative of those that are controlling these technologies. So already, this ChatGTP, which has grown faster than any other app in the history of mankind, has been proven to have an opinion rather than just a conveyance of facts. And the opinion has already been shown to be skewed towards the false narrative and denies the truths which those that are awake already understand. And there is also the rise of 5G and 6G technologies. So in your neighborhood now, there are towers which contain this technology, and this technology is weapons grade. It can be used as a weapon if it was nefariously decided that this is the way that it is intended to be utilized. Then you have the Internet of Bodies, where there is now going to be a hyperconnectivity between all of the devices in your immediate environment. So in your home, your devices will be talking to each other. And not only will they be talking to each other, they will also be conveying that information that they collect from the way that you are living in the privacy of your own home to an external collection database, where the elite or the security system, or whatever you wish you call it, will be collecting data continuously about all of the different ways that you live and interact and so on in your own homes. Until eventually, many of these smart devices will have microphones and also cameras. And just as your phone does now, and you probably have already had the experience where you will speak about something and then later you will see you are receiving advertising specifically in regard to the thing that you were just speaking about. Well, what will occur eventually if this system is allowed to reach a level of maturity is that when you are in your own home and your refrigerator, your washing machine, your television are literally listening to the conversations that you're having. If you have a conversation which contains keywords which are considered to be a thought crime, considered to be dissident speech, then this information will be relayed to a central database and a activation or a red flag will be triggered. And then your actions and the things that you say will be given a closer scrutiny. And even perhaps there will be actual humans who will then be given the task of observing all that you say and all that you do through the microphones and the cameras that are in the smart devices that are in your own home to determine if it is true that you are a thought criminal. This is dystopian to the extreme, but we just wish to extrapolate what the trajectory is of this current path which humanity is on. Then there is also the phenomenon occurring simultaneously with all of these dramatic changes of manufactured crises. So first there was the epidemic, which is now shown to have been released from a laboratory. And then there was the response, which now has been shown to have significant detrimental effects on those that received the inoculation. Then you have ecological disasters. So there are train derailments where highly toxic substances are now leaking into the environment and literally killing the environment. And yet the year prior, there was a movie which had the exact same plot line as what has occurred in this tragedy. And also, the CDC changed their information regarding the chemicals that were in the spill days before the spill did occur. The food shortages, and you have the energy crisis, and you have severe inflation and global recession, currency collapse, open borders, escalating war in Europe, verging on nuclear disaster. You have food infrastructure randomly and unexpectedly catching fire, bursting into flames, exploding, being hit by airplanes. You have many tens of millions of farm animals being euthanized or even burnt alive because they have been shown through a testing which is very similar to the PCR testing that has been used for the pandemic to be carrying some type of pathogen, so they must be destroyed. There is severe flooding, there is severe drought, there is earthquakes occurring in regions of countries which never get earthquakes. And this earthquake appears literally days after that particular country went against the wishes of the UN, of the EU. Then look at the cultural crises. Masculinity is being destroyed. Femininity is being made a mockery of. Your children from a very young age are being indoctrinated into the concept of transgenderism. Young children are having their genital organs irreparably changed, mutilated. There are satanic performances at national and international televised events. Fraudulent elections, where it appears the most popular candidate, the candidate is literally the one that is supported by the people. And all of the anecdotal evidence is overwhelming that this person should have been elected if the elections were run correctly. And yet, the least popular candidate with the ideas which are very much in lockstep with the forced narrative are being elected in what appears to me a miraculous way because they are not popular. Then you have the rise in crime, the rise in drug deaths. So on and on and on and on we could go, but that is enough. You get the idea. So we want you to be aware that there is a transformation of the reality, the civilization of your planet, and it is not heading in a direction which ends well if it is allowed to culminate. So this change is coming at you like a freight train. It is coming at you very, very, very fast. And if it is allowed to reach its culminated state, then it's important for you to realize it is all one organism. These are not separate things going on at the same time because there is a decline in humanity. Rather, it is a strategized, organized attack on the global population. This is the cabal of darkness, the global oligarchy that have been ruling your planet for many, 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 many generations, working towards the culmination of a very dystopian vision. And now they are in the end zone. Now they are coming very close to putting the crown atop the glory of total and utter dominion. So, at the moment, they do not have total control. They are still subject to laws, to constitutions, and also to the pushback of the people. However, even so, even though there is some limitation to the power at the present moment, you can see that they are doing their best to create a hell on earth, to make your lives so miserable, so insecure, so desperate that it almost will not be worth living your life. And the only salvation that will be available to you in their framework is that you submit to their rules, to their system, because it is only through this mechanism that you will be able to survive, but survive only on their terms. It is widely known that the elite are philosophers of eugenics, and so many have stated, there is much documentation of this, that they prefer a planet which has no more than 500 million people. The Georgia Guidestones, which stood from the 1980s until just very recently. Last year they were destroyed. And they had 10 rules or 10 tenets which the elite wished to come to pass. And the very first of those was that the population of the earth was kept to an amount which is 500 million or less, to be in harmony with nature. At the moment, there is approximately 8 billion people on your planet. And so it is a very dramatic reduction in the population. It is a very severe and extreme culling of the global population to bring it under this level of 500 million. And so when you look about what has been occurring over the last 3 years with the pandemic and then the response to the pandemic, it is starting to look like they've already begun this plan of eugenics. And the truth is, this plan began a long time ago, because your foods, your water, your air, your electromagnetic field, it has all been toxified on purpose to limit your vitality, to limit your reproductivity, to limit how long you live, how many children you have. And this is all within the context that they are still limited in their power, in their authority. Once, if it does occur, they roll out the final level where they create the technocratic state, where they have total and utter dominion over everything that you do, because they own the transactional system. And if you want to eat, if you want to drink, if you want to live, you must use their transactional system. And if you do not, then you will be a criminal. If you think it is a bad idea, then you will be a criminal. And the judgment on criminals will be harsh, because there will be no resistance to them, because they will have so much power, so comprehensive in their dominion. So when you look about your civilization now, and considering all of these things which we've laid out, you can see it is very, very saturated with darkness. So extrapolate what it will become once the elite have total and utter dominion. Once they are not limited by laws and constitutions. Once the people are so weakened that they do not have to deal with any pushback whatsoever. And so then they are free to do whatever it is they wish to do, because they are so comprehensive in their wealth, power, and authority. Then things really will get bad, much worse than they are now. And this is when, in their framework, in lockstep with their vision, that the real slaughter of humanity will begin. So, we do not wish to scare you, but we want you to have a firm grasp of what is occurring. All of this dramatic change coming at you like a freight train from so many different directions is unprecedented. There has never been a time in your history that so much change has been coming at you so quickly from so many different directions that is so transformational. The cage walls are coming in and they're beginning to be visible. And soon, if humanity does not bust out, then this cage will be inescapable. And the darkness that you see in your environment now will be of an intensity which none of you have experienced before. It will be a hell on earth. So, the point of this discussion is not to terrify you, is not to scare you, but instead is to make you realize, be very awake to what is occurring. Be very awake to how valuable time is to change this course for humanity. And send humanity in the direction of the light. Because something which is very inspiring, very hopeful from what is occurring right now is this change is coming at you very, very rapidly from many, many different directions because the elite understand they are running out of time. And so their preference has always been to introduce dramatic change very subtly, very quietly. So one little thing happening over there, and then when it's done, then another little thing happening over there, and then it's done. And very, very slowly, little bit by little bit, over generations, dramatic transformation takes place, but it has occurred so slowly that no one has really noticed. And if they were given the full timescale that they would prefer to accomplish their ultimate agenda, then this is the way they would continue to operate. But they understand that humanity is awakening, and they are telegraphing their fear and their awareness that this is so by the hectic pace, the frenetic onslaught of all this dramatic change all at the same time. So, in their brilliance, and they are brilliant, they have conditioned your species to be used to very rapid change, increasing pace of change. And they have intentionally done this because they perceived sometime in the past that the only way they were going to achieve this agenda is if they accelerated its unfurlment as fast as possible. But they realized they could not unfurl it very, very dramatically right from the moment they had that realization. They knew for them to do it successfully, they must condition your species, your civilizations, your societies, to the idea that very rapid change is totally normal. And so, it is like the frog in the boiling water, that humanity is being totally shifted in what it means to be a human being. Transformed in a way which is so dramatic that what comes after these transformations will be a very different type of human life than it was in the past. And yet, humanity does not appear to be responding very much because it has been conditioned in this way. And also there is the control of the narrative and the severe levels of censorship to make sure that you do not appreciate what is occurring. If you are awake, if you are aware of all that we have said in this session, then it is your responsibility to do something about it. The elite, the cabal of darkness, they are telegraphing to you. If you awaken in sufficient numbers, then it is the end for us. And they are telegraphing this through the rampant way they are forcing their changes down your throat, regardless of whether you like it or not. So, the way that humanity wins, the way that the light triumphs over the darkness is very simple. If enough people are awake, the darkness loses. It is literally that simple. And the awakening of humanity is the organic path. It is the flow of chi of the One. It is the natural arc of the evolution of existence. And so the very nature of your Creator is with you. And yet the cabal of darkness is very inorganic. It's very counter to this natural flow of chi through the One, the arc of all existence. And so it is in your favor, the momentum of the all. And the darkness can be defeated very easily. So, if you are awake, then it is your responsibility that you share what you know with others, that you make some effort in some way to contribute to the awakening of your species. to the dawning of the reality of what is actually going on, to the greater humanity being. Because all of these other people that are within the humanity being, they are more than just your brothers and sisters. They are you. You are them. And so if you love yourself, then you love those also that are about you. And in your act of self-love, you will love them also. And therefore, it is your duty as an awakened human being to share this message of what is actually occurring, what is at stake, what will come to pass if humanity does not awaken in time. This is your duty. So, it does not mean you have to be a tinfoil hat maniac, ramming crazy ideas down the throats of those around you. But perhaps it can be as simple as seeing the true version of a story which is being portrayed through the news media, the false narrative. And you have access to the actual truth. The truth of what's really going on in regard to this. And by sharing that, it will expose the lies of the media, the lies of the government, the lies of the judiciary, and so on. And then through this sharing, eventually those that are ready to awaken will have a spark of insatiable thirst for the truth appear within themselves. And then they will take on the responsibility of understanding what is really occurring in their environment for themselves. So all you need to do is be the initial kindling to ignite this curiosity. There are 3 awakenings which we discuss in the book, The 3 Awakenings That Save Humanity. And in this discussion, the most pertinent of those is the reality awakening. To be aware that your narrative, how the world is portrayed to you through all of the cultural pillars, including education, government, judiciary, entertainment media, news media, marketing, social media, it is a contrivance. It is distorted and skewed such that you believe the world to be something which actually it isn't. So that you believe yourself to be something which actually you aren't. Which you believe history is something which it wasn't at all. It has all been contrived, even your science, even your medicine. Contrived by this oligarchy, this cabal of darkness, the thieves of the sacred knowledge of your species. And it is all for the intent that they become the unchallenged gods and demigods of your species and your planet, and that the rest of humanity is transformed into a slave race, existing only to be of service to them. So, when you realize that it's all contrivance, that it's all lies, that it's all mistruths and misdirections, then you begin to look for the truth. If this isn't what it appears to be, or what I'm told that it is, then what is the truth? And you dig and you dig and you dig and you dig. And this is how you become reality awakened. But also important, for this trajectory of humanity, if it is going to be into the light, is your spiritual awakening. To realize that you are the light and nothing but the light. Because that is the constituency of your Creator, the One. The One is love and light and nothing else. And as you are an individuation of the One, you literally are a piece of the One. The One is experiencing itself through the proxy, which is you. It created the illusory context by individuating itself into an infinitum, such that it could have an experience of itself. And so you are one of those individuations. You literally are the One. And as such, you are made from the same energetic building blocks, energetic material. You are love and light, just as the One is. And so when you have any ideas, any emotional states, any conceptions of self, which are from the darkness end of the spiritual spectrum, it is a misunderstanding of what you actually are, because you are the light and nothing but the light. And so when you awaken in your spirituality, you purge the darkness and you move into the light, because this is the binary. If you are not the darkness in this realization, I am not the darkness, so what am I? I must be the light. And into the light you move. And then the third awakening is your identity awakening, such that you can live fearless and with a longer view, a broadened perspective. Because you are not the finite being that you see in your reflection. You are the infinite, invulnerable, immortal. You shall live for all time. And what occurs here in this physical 3D experience, where you find yourself temporally incarnated, nothing that occurs here or befalls the avatar can touch you in the true aspect of who you are. As this infinite, invulnerable, immortal, you cannot be touched by here. So this will give you an invigoration to live more fearlessly, to have the courage to stand up and let it be known that you disagree with the narrative, that you are aware of facts and information which are very revealing of what is truly going on, and to do that without a fear of how you will be ostracized perhaps, or how you will be villainized, or how you will be censored. Understand, you are the majority. The majority of your species are very true and pure in their essence, and they wish for nothing more than a happy life, thriving and prospering, and they wish the same for all others of your species. This is the predominant energy of your species, because your species is of the light, as all species are. And so the more there is living in truth of this reality, then the more your species will shift into the light, will find each other, will unify into the single being, which will stand so tall and mighty against the cabal of darkness, that the darkness will expose to be nothing more than a small blip on the radar of the full scope of humanity's evolution. And this small blip was not erroneous, it was not an aberration, but instead it was a necessary part of the evolution of your species, such that you could all find the light. Because without the darkness, the light cannot be experienced. It is that demarcation, it is that contrast, the looming presence of the darkness, that the light can be appreciated and experienced for what it is. And this is the valuable service that the darkness gives to humanity now. And so, utilize their service. Let it awaken you and invigorate you to awaken those around you, such that humanity as a whole awakens to a sufficient degree that unified you can stop the onslaught of the change and the total destruction of what it means to be a human being on your planet. The extrapolation of where your society is heading is not a place that you would want to go, and yet it is much closer than perhaps many of you are aware. Now is the time to take action. Now is the time to take responsibility. Now is the time to step in and fulfill your journey and your duty as an awakened human being. Thank you, and we love you.